Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the NRG series from Elmhurst, Illinois. I'm Mason Clark, joined by Corbin Hostler, and we're here for the semifinals, Corbin. Let's pull it up on screen real quick here as our players are already sitting down and shuffling up. We just saw Nathaniel win a second ago. August 1, the Jeskai Blink mirror, so she is going to play Nathaniel on the left. We're going to watch on the right as we watch Is It Prowess versus Simic Ritual. So potential double Simic Ritual finals going on here today, Corbin.
It's true. Or Yunnan Wan will advance all the way with the Is It Prowess deck. So two decks playing very different strategies, but with a lot of 1 and 2 mana spells in them, as we're about to watch. So this is an interesting one. Obviously, we'll see. I believe it is Joseph that will be on the play here. So we'll have an opportunity to get out ahead of that Is It deck. So we'll see how that plays out. But before we do, let's look ahead. Not very far ahead, just next week, a week from today, next Sunday, November 9th, you can play the NRG Championship Series from your home. You can play on Magic Online. Play Edge of Eternity Sealed, that is, for up to $2,500 will be in that prize pool. And, of course, an invitation to the NRG Champs, that being a huge prize at the end of this. So we love that we can bring you more NRG series tournaments, and we love being able to partner with Magic Online to do so that you can play from the comfort of your own home. And looking ahead to next year, Mason, we will have more of those Magic Online showdowns.
That's right. Next year, 4 of our bigger events are going to be MTGO showdowns. That means if you win one of those, you go straight to our end of the year invitational, 24 players, $35,000 prizes along with a Crocher invite. It's one of the coolest tournaments every single year. Players always talk about how much fun this is to prepare for and to compete in, and it's so much fun to bring to you. And we're bringing you this year's end of the year invitational on December 13th and 14th. So don't miss a beat. Follow along here on Twitch or YouTube if you're watching the VOD. So look at Paper Magic, 4 big weekends coming out to you. Big 10Ks happening. It's going to be exciting. Our players are feeling out their cards. Of note, Prowess beat Amulet. That is not how it normally goes. I mean, it's possible. It's not like, the sky is black or whatever, right? Like, it happens. But, this is something that happens.
Yeah.
Not the best analogy to say at night, You look up and you're like, oh, that happens every day.
You're not able to pull off the upset here. Both players going to a mulligan on this one. I imagine it's just as we watched Is It Prowess play out earlier, sometimes the deck can just generate 20 points of damage in one turn, and sometimes that turn is as early as turn 3. So it's certainly a possibility to just get underneath an Amulet Titan deck, and that's what he'll hope to do in this one as well, is to go faster than Joseph does, because the Simic Ritual deck will absolutely bury Is It in long-term value. So instead, what Yunnan is going to be doing is trying to get in one big swing, whether that's with, a prowess creature or probably more likely something like a Slick Shot Show-Off that can go through the air.
Mm-hmm.
Those Ice Fang Coatls, though, they're going to be quite good as a roadblock in this matchup, as they are, it turns out, in almost every matchup. But in this one, they can really punch above their weight, given sort of what Yunnan's plan is.
Yeah, if you can get those 3 other snow permanents, it could be other Coatls. I've done the, one basic triple Coatl move to blocks line before. It feels good. A little hard to do against a Lava Dart deck, but it is doable.
Yeah, those Lava Darts, when we watched this matchup earlier, were just huge. And I think that may have been against a Boris energy deck, perhaps, but the ability to just like genuinely 2-for-1 some of the creatures with a Lava Dart while pumping up your own team is really powerful. Although it looks like here, perhaps no 1-drop for Juan. So perhaps we will see removal instead. Or not.
Yeah. Slow game for everyone here.
It is rare, I think, to see the Simic drop not have the Simic deck not have a 2-drop. We did see some of these players take some mulligans. So we'll see if it's just instant speed being held up here, right? You could flash in an Ice Fang or something like that still. So Joseph could just be saving his mana, but still going to spend it.
Yeah, from what I saw there, it did look to be an Ice Fang Coatl in hand. just sort of not letting Yanan know about it. Little surveilling action here. Abhorrent Oculus, if it comes down, it's pretty good at blocking. It's pretty good at clogging up the board. I have to imagine Joseph is trying to play towards that card. Endurance can also be weirdly good to turn off the flying of a DRC, force Lava Darts to get played, else to go away. And land go from Yunnan. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, curious what his hand is. It has to just be removal, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, so like bolts, like Corey Steelcutter makes some amount of sense as something that like maybe you kept a couple bolts, maybe a lava dart, a steel cutter. They're both on 6 too, so it's definitely possible there's a bit of a loosey goosey situation, right? A hand that gets there with a bunch of good top decks, and we just didn't quite get there. Lord knows I kept those hands more times than I should have.
Well, it is in fact a lava dart is the first piece of interaction, but I guess that's not exactly a 2-for-1 for either player here, but I think it's just perfectly fine if you're Joseph and you're still at 19 life untapping for your third turn here.
Yeah, and Joseph has a Harbinger of the Seas, which weirdly forces Yunan's hand a little bit. Also has a Shardless Agent.
Yeah, Shardless Agent's very high upside here.
Yeah, if you hit Ritual into the Oculus, that is backbreaking. If you hit into like even a Coiling Oracle that hits, any card, it's like pretty good spot to be. Obviously, Lava Dart makes some of this a little bit more complicated.
There we go. Agent into Ritual.
Okay, I do see a Corey Steelcutter flick to the front of the hand here for Yunnan. That is going to make a bit of sense here on why we kept up so much mana on all these turns.
This has still got to be a good spot for Joseph, though. We're going to bolt the Shardless Agent, I would assume, at the end of the second main phase so that you don't get that option with your Ritual. But that does mean that Joseph is at 18 life, still has a Ritual in play. Yunnan has no cards plotted, nothing like that. And now any turn that goes by where Joseph makes it to the instep with the creature, disaster can strike at any moment. So this is probably the key sequence over the next turn cycle here between these two players.
It looks like Yunnan has just drawn a lot of lands too. Like I think I spy a couple lands in hand, a Mutagenic Growth, a Steel Cutter, and a Slickshot Show Off.
All right. Well, opts to go for the show off here. We'll see if Joseph wants to fight. He does. You're going to pitch a Harbinger to a Subtlety to stick that thing back on the top of Yunan's library. Might let that happen. He might fight. He might fetch in response here. Couple options.
I love this play from Joseph. Just live. If you just live, things will work out. I promise. So we just gotta, make sure I don't die. Looks like maybe there's some miscommunication. I think Yunnan played the slick shot and then played the land. And Yunnan was like, oh, I thought we were past the point where you could counter. And Joseph is like, nah, I was thinking still, But I don't know exactly what's happened. Maybe there's some question about like this subtlety's on the stack. I can't imagine it being on the stack mattering too much. Regardless, though, just getting a land here that way, if you want to top the slick shot show off, you don't have to wait on your fetch. Makes some amount of sense.
All right. The fetch happens. The show off goes to the top of the library. And yeah, I mean, you said it. Joseph's plan is to just live because now any Coiling Oracle, any Ice Fang, basically any creature at all is pretty good. And that one might equal multiple creatures.
Yeah, this one is
number 2.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, the worst case scenario is like Birthing Ritual when it comes to bodies on board, but then you have 14 looks at an Oculus. So, like, is it the worst one? It's like, okay, Ice Fang cool. Great, it draws a card, we make a land drop, and now we're going to turn this Swaddle into something. I think the way it works is once Joseph picks up the cards, you don't get a Lava Dart. Yeah, you have gone past that point. We were finished resolving this ability. So Wants to
There you
keep
go.
the Ice Spin Coatl just because of the Slick Shot show off, I guess, and wants to maybe force the Lava Dart's hand, but could have also, upgraded it there.
Yeah, and he's going. Well, we now have 2 flying blockers with the abhorrent Oculus. We immediately pitch that one face down, so it's either really good or just nothing, as the land was the other. So Joseph in full control though at this point. Yanon just trying to find a way to get a one shot in almost with a show off, but with the multiple flying blockers from Joseph, it's going to be difficult, especially because it all happens again next turn. Corey Steele, pretty good at going wide, but I don't think it's going wider than Oculus here. So the cutter makes a token. The show off follows. There's still a lava dart, so you can get triggers here, Canyonon, in the middle of combat.
It's also mutagenic growth. I love just a block on Slick Shot show off here. This seems great for Joseph. You block here, there's a lava dart in the graveyard. You can even block with your manifest if that card's not very good. You fetch a basic. You're chilling.
Yeah, absolutely.
What you're not going to do? Cast spells and do a little bit of damage?
Yeah, what an excellent spot for Joseph here, because I think we talk about, who needs to go faster. It's Yanon. He has to go faster because keeping removal and going slow in this game just did not work. The shardless agent value was just simply too much because it can just turn the game in a moment with ritual into Oculus, and that was what happened over the course of 2 turns here. So Joseph untapping at 14 life, staring down a show off and a cutter, but with a lot of options available to him.
Yeah, has an Ice Spin Coatl in hand. Great way to just keep moving through your resources, try and find something. You can even turn it into another Oculus. And this Oculus that you have on board is just a very, very fast clock. And it looks like Joseph's hand is Sink into Stupor, Flare of Denial, Ice Spin Coatl. So a lot of goods here. Finding a land here would actually be very insane for Joseph. You just have counter magic up.
Yes, it would. And all right, we're going to punch in with the Oculus. That's 5 points. Or not. We're just thinking about it. You could knock Yanon down to 11, just deciding exactly how much do I need to keep up here to not randomly die to this show off. And instead just says, I think I've got this under control. Moves to the end step. Just going to resolve a birthing ritual trigger and keep back all kinds of blocks. And that's why you upgrade a Coatl to a second Oculus, and now you've got the air covered and you've got the ground covered thanks to the Manifest Shreds. So Joseph looking very good here in game 1, just basically a clinic of the Simic Ritual deck. And we've seen it. This is 2 players in the top 4 with it. One of them looking to get one step closer to the finals.
Yeah, I would have liked an attack, but, it's hard to go wrong with you have this much defensive force going on. And Yanon on so few resources.
Yeah, Joseph has to imagine the only way I lose this game is to somehow not be able to block. And I'm sure that's not the only way, but decides I'm just going to take one more turn to be safe. So here we go. Yanon offers up the attack from the show off. It immediately earns a block.
Single block, not going to risk the double. If Yanon has mutagenic growth X2, so be it.
Yeah, like none of that's actually bad for Joseph, right? You're still going to continue to accumulate value, and now your opponent has run all of their pump spells out that you worry about getting one shot by. So while this will still allow some tokens to be made, and it was the 2x mutagenic growth, as you mentioned, I don't know if this fundamentally changes the course of this game.
Well, this is actually huge
because it's trample, though, right?
Well, it has trample, but also Yanon's using mutagenic growth, and Joseph's saying, "Hey, the second one hasn't resolved. I have a force negation in hand, and I can trade with your slick shot because right now your slick shot lives. But if I trade here, right, suddenly I have the ground clawed with my one and then even if Joseph doesn't draw a spell, the hand's all counter spell. So you just know, okay, attack you, you're dead. Attack you, you're dead. the game is essentially over. So I really like this from Joseph. Get rid of that sink. Just trade off the slick shot. You do take a lot of trample, like you mentioned, but
Mhm.
it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, and as long as you're alive, your opponent hasn't burned their resources. You have to feel like it ends in just probably literally 2 turns. So, Oculus just continuing to be a house.
Yeah. Really, really good card. Yeah, and I mean here too, you can just get in with some of these tutus. Attack in the air for 5, maybe get on the ground with another one, hit him for 7, force a little jump block action on this turn to the next.
Yep, there you go.
You definitely want to get in for with the 2. You want to put 7 so that you have like lethal on the next turn. But
All right. It looks like we'll see what happens in the second main here. Yunnan down to 7 life.
it
Looks
looks like there
like.
might have been some miscommunication with life totals because of the mutagenic growth / maybe our stream was a bit behind.
Yeah.
This play makes a lot of sense. Then you don't need to get down to 5, although it's totally reasonable to have done that. But here now, Oculus plus any 2/2 getting across will be lethal. Oculus is almost always going to get across, so reasonable spot. And I like this a lot too. Turn the Coiling Oracle face up. Birthing Ritual now just turn into something different.
Yeah, you might just find another Oculus. But you also might just upgrade it to, I guess, anything with some more value. And I see another Oracle in the hand there. So you get
Yeah,
to at least redraw.
that plays. Get another card. I mean, if you hit like an island here off the top with your Oracle, then you've got that flare up. Birthing Ritual, fine. Put it in my hand. And then Manifest Dread again. Looks like we're running low on Manifest Dread tokens. It's going to be chill. I don't think that is the second manifest. I think that's technically the third, which you're supposed to track. It's not that big a deal, though. We're never really shooting them,
All right, preordained for Yunnan here. I'm not really sure what he's looking for, but preordained does at least let you chain some spells, create some
Oh,
prowess triggers.
I was going to say, I really like Joseph just flaring here. There's no cards in hand for Yunnan, no lava darts in the graveyard. Just don't let Yunnan move through the deck at all. Don't let the Quarry Seal Cutter trigger.
Yeah.
You got game. Just put it in the words of Happy Gilmore.
All right, we're going to go ahead and flare the expressive iteration. So there is still that trigger, but, well, let's see what happens in the instep here. I count 3 blockers and 5 in the air, so technically not over.
Yeah, the blockers all chump, though. If you attack with any of them, then you're dead on board, so you can't do that. There's no darts in the graveyard.
Yeah, this one seems like we'll be out of it pretty quickly. Here comes one attack.
All right, all
For
Joseph has to do is
3.
not block. Not blocking wins the game, and with no cards in hand and no cards in graveyard with abilities, it is all face up. Now, I guess there could be something that got added there that we didn't see. That is definitely possible.
All right.
That
Trades with the
has 2
token.
prowess triggers. It should not trade. It should live. It is a 3/3. We cast 2 spells, even if one gets countered. We'll try and get that fixed for you. This is a live match. Even though Express Federation got countered, prowess still resolved. We even put the 3 on it. I think
Yeah.
maybe thought my creature was 2 power because the dice was on 2. Cast Preordain, cast EI. This is part of, by the way, countering the first draw spell. Makes life a little easier for you. They all seem to think that it's 3 power. Maybe I missed something.
Maybe double blocked.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe prowess. Yeah, maybe it was a double block. That's definitely possible. Or you just like even triple block. One of those
Well,
moments.
here we go. Coming in with the swing. This forces the double chump. This puts Yunnan down to 2 life. And there is a follow up Harbinger. So I don't know that there's any way out of this here. Maybe it's something like no, I don't think so. So Oculus is found with the birthing ritual that will create another body to block, and that should probably wrap it up here for Joseph.
Yeah, it should be game. I mean, Yanan has only one card we can draw and play. The best card you could do is Expressive Iteration. There's too many blockers for you to ever get through with the one card you can play off EI.
And there we go. That is the game. Going over to Joseph Gears, taking out from game one, Simic Ritual. So let's take a look at the sideboards here because Yanan Juan will get to go on the play for this one, and we can see the options he'll have access to. Consigned to Memory, pretty decent. Spell Pierce, perhaps. Spell Snare, definitely. Also access to Unholy Heat or Surgicals if you want to go that route as well. So I'm not sure what you like here, Mason, but I think we probably start with ways to interact with Birthing Ritual.
Yeah, I mean, fighting over Ritual can be good. The Unholy Heat to fight over the Oculus, that's really what I kind of like, and into the Floodmaw. Floodmaw, you could technically get rid of a Ritual, but also just unsummon the Oculus. You're wanting to play a short game, so let's just get the game over with quickly and sort of disrupt them along the way. Don't try to play this long, grindy sort of thing. Not what it's about. Let's just have a couple kill spells, have a bounce spell, call it a day, and just be proactive. Not always true, but kind of my guiding light when it comes to this prowess deck is if I'm setting more than 4 cards, I need to have a really good reason. 5 cards is like fine, but when I see people doing 7, 8 cards for a bunch of matchups, life gets scary quick.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go and take a look at Joseph's sideboard. Got to be happy to pick up game one there because now you get to move on to game two, where you look for cards to help you survive. And in that case, we're looking at Stern Scoldings. I have to imagine is a pretty good answer to all of those creatures that you might face you can do so at a mana advantage. Even you can go for an endurance should you want to interact with that graveyard a little bit, and you already have access to the one in the main deck, does Joseph, so it's that access to a second copy could be there. And then if you want to fight over the blue spells, of course, you can always point to Mystical Disputes.
Yeah, those are all pretty reasonable ways you go about it. I imagine, and I can see it going lots of different ways, like I just talked about, that like endurance is something you like. It has reach, 3/4, get to those graveyard things, all pretty reasonable. And then Storm Scolding, like you said, there's only 4 real threats in the deck, right? It scores
Right.
better than 2 creatures, and Scolding takes care of that. So I imagine, especially just being 1 mana too, let's just interact, make sure we get to our engines, and we will win. We saw this from game 1 of Joseph, right? We subtlety to this Slickshot show off just because we needed a turn, right? And we knew with a turn we could most likely get to the Oculus, and that's what it's all about. That's what Stern Scolding's about. Even though it can be a little awkward, I think buying yourself a little time is going to be massive here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think our players are almost ready. Let's head down to the match. This is for the finals, if you're Joseph anyway. Going to be on the draw with Simic Ritual taking on Yanan Juan. With Is It Prowess, going to hope to go very quick here after that first game. Kept a creature light hand, and it did not quite work out. Going to hope for something a little more aggressive this time around. I don't know if you saw this earlier, Mason, but we did have the return of the meme with the opening hand on the playmat. I'll leave it at that.
Oh, I see. Yes. Cliff walks the run. Now, is this a 6 or a 7 here for Yanan?
Oh, well, it could be. Well, there you go.
Could have gone.
Looks like we have a 6 and a 7 in this one.
You'd love to see it.
The Izzet deck in this case is you're going to hope that going down to 6, obviously not ideal for any deck, but in this case, if you're able to execute your own game plan, that extra card, you hope that it doesn't matter is probably the best way to put it. So he's hoping when he goes to this one, you find a couple lands, 1 strong threat, some lava darts, and you go from there. So it looks like we are at least thinking about keeping this one here. I spot a show off in there. perhaps a Swift Spear as well, and it is a keep. So both players ready to go here in our 10K Showdown Modern in Elmhurst. We'll see if we can get an update in our other semis. We'll see if production can check in on that one as well. See who will be meeting one of these two players in the finals.
50% chance it's Simic Ritual here for Yanan. Game 2 Rituals up. All right. So tough if you're a fan of the Jeskai Blink deck. Huge if you love 2-for-1s.
If you're a Coiling Oracle fan, it's setting up to be a very nice finals.
After 2 decades, it's finally your time.
All right. Well, that is 3/4 of the way to prowess for Yanan. I'm sorry, to Delirium for Yanan with the 3 card types there in the graveyard. So before Joseph has even spent any mana, you're possibly facing you're facing down the threat anyway of a 3-power attacker.
Yeah, and this first turn cycle for Joseph is always going to be the awkward one with this deck, right? Your deck is full of 2s.
Yeah.
And main deck, you have Dismember as a 1, but that's about it. And then post-board is Stern Scolding. And I have to imagine a Scolding would have came down there if you had it. So, all right.
Yeah, because this is a lot of pressure from Yanan coming out here, or at least implied pressure with the DRC ready to level up at some point here. And then the Swift Spear giving the prowess deck its namesake, as it's the actual only prowess deck prowess card in the deck.
Whoa, the monk tokens from Corey Steelcutter have prowess.
Well, fair enough.
Yeah, I guess but they're not in the deck though. So
it's like affinity. It'll always be affinity.
Hmm.
And in fact, I think affinities even come back around to playing some affinity cards again. So what's old is new. And in this case, it's a very familiar aggressive start from Yanan. All right, so Joseph, it looked like we were playing our land tapped, and just I spot a couple of free counter spells there, perhaps a Dismember as well.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Dismember, Force and Negation, Shardless Agent, Subtle, and a couple lands.
Well, it looks like, yeah. So Expressive Iteration going to resolve here for Yanan. So Joseph just waiting to deal himself quite a bit of damage to probably take out the...
I think it was the Surveil. Joseph was saying,
yeah, that's the Surveil.
Yeah. And that is Delirium, for what it's worth, for the DRC.
Oh, and he is going to fight over this. So
yeah,
the Force takes out the Expressive Iteration. So there is a prowess trigger still, but now the Dismember can get rid of whether it's the DRC or the Swift Spear, can remove one of the threats. And then while your life total will still be single digits at that point for Joseph, you at least start to carve a way back into the game.
Yeah, I like this one, Joseph. You take 2 more damage this turn by dismembering this DRC, but you get the Surveilling off the board, get this off, and over the course of the next turn cycle, right, you're up a life. So
yeah, and I actually think you'll still be you took what, 2? There's still 11, so still a healthy life total, in fact, for Joseph here. And now you keep your only threat is on the ground, and you are able to play your Shardless Agent to put a body in front of that. And Coiling Oracle is a nice hit in the sense that it is 2 blockers for the non-trampling Monastery Swift Spear.
Sink into Stupor, in the hand, that is a interaction piece for when the game sort of stalls out. Can also be a land here if need be, but
blue card to pitch.
Yeah, it's really versatile. We are seeing a little bit of a fetch action here for Yanan, as this is a turn Yanan really wants to do something like Corey Steelcutter Preordain, Corey Steelcutter Lava Dart. Those would be primo turns for Yanan.
It's a show off is the 2-drop of choice instead. Let's see how aggressive Yanan wants to get here, because that show off was cast. It was not plotted. And, well, doesn't matter how aggressive he wants to get this turn because it's not happening. Subtlety sends it right back to the top of the library, and that means Yanon is just forced to pass the turn. Pretty brutal. No follow-up from Joseph, just passes the turn back, and that's because there's a stern scolding sitting in hand to deal with the slick shot show-off. And just stay alive, I think, has been the name of the game, as you said, with Simic Ritual, and that's working out pretty well here for Joseph, even without a ritual in play quite yet. This is where the point of the game, your deck is full of Coiling Oracles and Ice Fang Coatls and Shardless Agents, and all of those are good top decks.
Yeah, Yanon's in such a brutal spot too. Yanon has an Holy Heat in hand and is trying to decide, do I attack and maybe get the board clear? Or do I hold this for a Poor Oculus when it comes down eventually? Decided to wait and might get rewarded here.
Well, as rewarded as you can be when staring down a birthing ritual. So Joseph taking a look at the top 7, finds that abhorrent Oculus, upgrades the Coiling Oracle, and now Yanon put to the test. He's got it.
Yeah, I think this exchange is good for you. I mean, obviously you wish the 2/2 had died, so the 1/1, but whatever, that was never going to realistically happen.
And I think Joseph is out of cards, right?
Yeah, Joseph is top decking here.
Yeah.
We've aggressively 2-for-1 a lot. Yeah,
This is a window for Yanon here. 16 life is still, you're not in any danger. Your opponent only has a 2/2 at the moment. And while it could get out of control pretty quickly, if you can present enough pressure or, just say remove that Shardless Agent, you might be able to close the game out before Joseph can dig back in.
Yeah, I love this from Yanon. Just playing the Swift Spear and immediately lava darting it down the Shardless Agent with Joseph top decking, you want that Shardless Agent off the board for Birthing Ritual. There's not much you can really kill with Lava Dart that's going to matter more, and just push the damage. Like, there is a world where, like, maybe Joseph blocks with the Shardless Agent, right? And then you get Joseph, and then you get this here. But there's a lot of other worlds where that doesn't happen, and you set yourself up for lethal. Sometimes you got to shove. Oh, and then sometimes your opponent has pocket aces, and you get a Poor Oculus.
That's a pretty good one here. And by that, I mean probably the best one, as it has been every time it's been on camera, to be honest.
Yeah, a Poor Oculus.
Yeah, that slams the ground door shut on Yanon.
And then, Flare Denial off the top. Yanon ripped like an expressive iteration there. We could have, maybe start to crawl back in it. If Yanon has, lightning bolts, we can runner those. We can get back in it. But things are getting precarious. Oh, nothing better than a Poor Oculus in our deck. Crazy.
All right, Manifest Shred number 2. I think the writing is on the wall here for Yanon, and the Simic Ritual, all Simic Ritual Finals dream could be alive. In fact, if you wanted the update from the other match, we got it was 1-0 Simic Ritual up in that one. We don't know how, of course, that one will play out, but Joseph's looking pretty good here to do his part on taking Simic Ritual into the finals.
Okay, plot of show off is good, because plot show off means your Oculus needs to be. Oh my god!
It's just always Oculus. It's always Oculus underneath.
Yeah, and Joseph 2 playing Quantum Riddler, which I really like, not Fibblethip. Joseph had the daring idea, what if I put the good cards in my deck? I really respect that. And now that doesn't mean these Manifest Dreads could be 4-6 flyers as well at any point. Game could get out of hand incredibly quickly. I would have loved an attack here, though, from Joseph. No fear. Get in there, but can't blame him.
He's played very cautious throughout, or maybe conservative is the word, in the sense that I don't want to take any risks that are unnecessary to this game. And while sometimes that can open yourself up for risk, it has prevented him from taking any odd attacks that just might end things out of nowhere. And here we see what is likely the final turn. We'll see what Yanon is, if Yanon's able to pull a miracle out here.
All right, you're a Yanon fan. He's a ride or die. He's somehow beat Titan playing prowess. We rip expressive iteration, and like the old song, EI, we go for the win. not invoking confidence that we have unplotted the slick shot and are now passing as it looks
Oh
to be a
no.
trap blocker.
Oh no.
Oh, there was a Fibblethip still in the deck. We found room for all these Riddlers, but Fibblethip survived. Ugh.
Enjoy it while you can. I think that this Simic Ritual deck, especially after the showing it's put on this weekend, is going to attract some new eyes, some new attention, some new innovations, or
I
perhaps
hope we can get this
innovation
one eye out of the deck with all his attention.
the innovation might be subtraction at this point, but it's looked really, really good in every chance. All right,
All
Lightning
right.
Bolt.
Yeah, this is a good play from Yunnan.
Yeah.
If this had worked out, you put Joseph in, top deck lethal range, plus you have to eat. Obviously, that's not the case here, but thinking
Not
this
bad though.
through.
It keeps the game from ending. And in fact, I mean, well, Joseph has 3 creatures in play now. He'll soon have more, but you at least, well, I don't know. It's
The
still pretty
third
brutal.
Oculus.
Endurance.
Okay, endurance is nice. That turns off unholy heat, which you've seen from Yunnan, and a way to answer these Oculuses. I think Flare Denial is the last card in hand for Joseph. Nothing beats cancel.
No, it doesn't. When you have everything you need in play. And I think that's probably obviously Oculus. There are lots of powerful 3 drops. The reason that this one is so good, and obviously it provides you 2 bodies, but it also it provides growing bodies. It's a protect the queen type card, and in a format that is just absolutely rife with free spells, that is a pretty good thing to protect. And this deck seems probably the best situated to put it into play and do so.
All right, does Joseph have anything we want to transform at the end of turn? All right, another endurance. Fancy endurance.
I'll have ability to upgrade more parts of this deck soon. I have a feeling after this finals appearance, he's lining up.
Yeah, the NRG store, your place to go for that. Looks like a nice little attack in here for 6 with these endurances. Maybe get the other manifested.
That lightning bolt that Yunnan ran into the counterspell, that really was huge, though, because that was a very good job on his part to try to find a line to this. And it's if I'm not going to get there with the creatures, maybe I can at least hit running burn spells here. It was a valiant attempt to find the line before getting buried in the card advantage here. But Joseph just constantly having counter magic at every point, and that is just overwhelmed. And obviously, the birthing ritual triggers. All it takes is one to start the value train going.
I like this from Joseph. Sack endurance. Get in this Ice-Ring Coatl. Just draw some more cards and just make sure you don't get burned out. And, this thing should have Death Touch, right? There's like 3 or 4 Snow basics in play, so it can stop everything. All right.
Last chance for Yunnan. It is a bobble. Will trigger the DRC, put the Corey Steel Cutter into the graveyard, and just pass the turn.
All right. Does Joseph have anything we want to turn face up? Quantum Riddler, Subtlety, another Endurance, another Oracle, just, to have a blue-green body in play, and a 2-mana thing to turn into something with Ritual.
Thinking about it. He's going to do so. Why not? It's another Oculus. Why wouldn't it be?
All right, how are we looking? There's 1 flyer, because DRC, I believe, is 2 card types away.
Yes.
So that means we have Lethal in the Sky, because we have 16 flying power. That's pretty good. Yunnan has no cards in hand, which I think means Yunnan can't stop Lethal.
Yeah, I think that we are. If Joseph, just turns them all sideways here, we might be heading off into the finals. Now, not sure if our other semis is resolved yet, of course. So we'll find out very soon if Joseph has an opponent, and then we'll find out if that opponent is a Simic Ritual mirror or if it is a Jeskai Blink list. So that
Yeah, Yanan drew from the bobble and knew saw it was bad and started to extend the hand. And Joseph's like, "Oh yeah, I guess I do have lethal." And we are going to see it there. So congratulations to Joseph Geralt here. Moving on to our final Simic Ritual. Great run from Yanan Wan there. Put up a good performance. And honestly, I kind of thought Yanan was out. Was playing against Titan. I'm like, all right, let's see who Titan's going to play against the other side. But won that match. Congratulations on that top 4. A great finish. But Corbin, I want to see this backup feature match. We're in game 3. It's Birthing Ritual versus Jeskai Blink. There's going to be a lot of value on the table here. And let's get you up to speed, as it does look like an important Oculus with a Courling Oracle is in play with 2 Manifested Dread and a Birthing Ritual versus 3 lands, 2 Goblin Shaman tokens, and a Fable on 2. Now, it looks like we exerted the Arena of Glory one of these turns ago.
Yeah, we might be in the end step of this game, but maybe not. Here's a Solitude from August, pitching a Flage to try to fight back into it, but staring down double Oculus, Birthing Ritual in play, grip of cards from Nathaniel. We may well be on our way to that all Simic Ritual finals.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not looking good. We have double Abhorrent Oculus. The Birthing Ritual is on the stack. The trigger here, excuse me. And there's a Brazen Borrower in hand for Nathaniel. That's going to be really good at answering any problematic permanents that August could present.
All bases covered, I would say.
Yeah. So Wrath of the Skies, if there's some energy that's maybe on a piece of paper that we can't see, that could be good. But we have... No, I think that's a Mystical Dispute, not a Flare. So I guess Wrath of the Skies were bust. But I guess the goblins make treasures that you can sack to pay. So even if there's not energy, we might be able to get there. Okay, got outs.
Yeah,
Are they good outs? Are they winning outs? It's a relative term. We get to keep playing.
August, remember, played a Jeskai Blink mirror in the semifinals to advance to this point. So a really impressive day today, and then impressive showing in that top 8 to advance to the semis, which of course comes with the additional prizes, the additional points, and the RC invites.
Be seeing more of August in 2026 as Mystical Dispute's going to answer the Riddler, but I think August has a dispute for the dispute.
Yep.
Okay.
Gonna have to knock down to 3 to do it.
Riddle me this, Hostler. What do we hit off the Riddler? We found Teferi. Okay, not good enough.
Not good enough. Nathaniel Perigo takes it down over August Pearson. And that means, Mason, we have an all Simic Rituals finals here at the NRG Championship Series. That not, I think, on many people's bingo cards at the beginning of the weekend, but it will be on everyone's radar after this.
Really will be. I think this deck is really good. We're seeing it do well in other events going on across the world right now when it comes to Modern this weekend as well, both in paper and online. So curious to see how this deck develops, how it sort of unfolds. We're going to find out more about that in just a minute. We're going to give our players about 5 minutes, take a breath, use the bathroom. We're going to do the same, and we'll meet you all back here in just a few minutes for the finals of the NRG. See you soon.